What's going on, everybody? I'm Joe. I'm here with my co-host Tim,
How's it going, guys?
and this is the Final Serve. Today we're going to do a little Knicks and Nets talk. Start with the good old Brooklyn Nets. Interesting trades floating around, or trade rumors floating around, with Josh Smith and Ben Gordon. I think that Ben Gordon fits a need for the Nets because they need some perimeter shooting, but do you really give up Chris Humphries for Ben Gordon? Not too sure. I kind of feel like a Chris Humphries for Josh Smith and maybe throw in a draft pick might be a better deal for the Nets. Even though, I'm not the biggest fan of Josh Smith. I think he's slightly overrated. Reminds me a little bit of Joe Johnson, but that's for another story.
See, I'm gonna agree with you here, but I think you gotta do something with this Nets team, man. They need a little bit of a shakeup. I mean, and it's funny too because it seems like every time something big happens to this Nets team, they start doing well, start getting hot. I mean, they just keep on firing coaches too. They go back on a winning streak. But yeah, you gotta do something to shake this Nets team up. I mean, they're not playing well right now.
Well, here's the thing. Like they're so hot and cold. Like they'll go on, what was it, a 10-game winning streak, and then they'll lose 6 in a row.
Well,
You know
that's
what I
what
mean?
happens
It's
to
just,
inconsistent teams.
I don't know. They need something. And if you watch their games, the defense just clogs the middle on them. They have nobody that can really step back and hit that three-pointer, which is what Joe Johnson was supposed to do. But I think what everyone is finding out now is that he's pretty overrated, and I don't think he is what people thought he was. And maybe he really wasn't worth that big contract that he got.
Well, I'll tell you one thing. I think one thing that solved their problems in the offense is I don't understand why they don't feed the ball to Lopez more. Dude is 7 feet tall. I understand they just feed it to him and let him dunk it in.
Yeah, but you know what? His game, that's not his game. He likes that little jump shot.
I don't
He has a
understand why
decent
a
hook
guy. I don't
shot.
understand why that guy of that size is taking shots like that.
Yeah,
Just throw it in, man.
and another thing, they don't really have any leaders on that team.
Well, I was
Like,
thinking that right now. Actually,
D.
I was
Will
like,
is kind of a wuss, to be honest with you.
yeah, if
Like,
that's your leader, then
I mean,
yeah.
he's a very good player. Don't get me wrong, but D. Will, man, he just when
Well,
things go wrong, he just starts getting all pouty.
Well, it's like when you think about the Knicks. Right, you think Knicks right away, boom, Carmelo Anthony comes to mind. When you think
Carmelo
about Nets,
Anthony, Tyson Chandler,
you
Jason
start them out,
Kidd.
they're like faces of the team. When you think of the Nets, it's like I don't get that same feeling from them. I don't get a leadership
Yeah.
quality from that team.
I don't know, because even I would say Gerald Wallace has a personality to be a leader, but he's not good enough. You know what I mean? Like I don't know. I just feel like that team is not what people expected them to be at the beginning of the year.
Well, I think we said this in one of our early episodes. I mean, I said it that they were coming off hot mainly because they were the big Brooklyn team. They had a little bit of an attitude because of it.
Yeah, they had some
little bit of they had some swagger, energy going on. But now it's kind of died out. The firing of Avery Johnson, I guess, kind of woke them up a bit more. But now they're coming back down to earth. I mean, what are you gonna do? Keep firing another head coach or keep making trades to make this team wake up? I mean,
I don't think the head coach is the problem in this situation. I think now they just I don't think they brought in the right pieces, to be honest with you. I mean, to me it almost makes sense to trade Humphries. It's an expiring contract. He's not a terrible player, even though I think he's a scumbag. I don't like him. Anyway, let's move on to something a little more interesting in
like
the
the
New York
Knicks.
Knicks.
Another team.
Listen, they cannot trade Shumpert.
There's no. Enough with it. Keep your young players, Knicks. Please learn from the past. Keep some of your young players.
Well, here's the thing. They want to, or I'm not. That's the wrong thing to say. They don't want to. But the rumor is that they were looking to trade Shumpert for Dudley of the Suns. Which, here's the thing. Jared Dudley, a good player. He's solid. Dude can score. He can rebound. Pretty good on the defensive end. But I think Shumpert is too valuable
But it's not
to
like
get
Shumpert
rid
doesn't
of.
play D.
Yeah, but I think
Shumpert's D is pretty good.
right.
I mean,
And here's the thing: what's a little frustrating, and I'm trying to look at this from the outside, but what's a little frustrating is people are getting on Shumpert because he's not playing the same type of defense that he was playing last year.
he's
But
just coming back from injury. I
exactly, you
mean,
need to realize that the knee.
well, look what happened to Amari when he came back. Amari came back a little rusty and then finally got
Yeah,
his
he
game back. I
started
mean,
picking it up a little, but people need to realize that the knee, you need to kind of be comfortable with it, 100% comfortable with it. And I think he's still trying to get back to that where, oh, well, I can make them cuts that I was making last year. I can do what I was doing last year. I just need to have faith.
and I think at moments in this season he showed it.
No,
I
yeah,
think he's
no,
had
he
some
has showed
very
it.
strong
But
games.
he's
I
also
mean,
showed that he's playing a little bit more reserved. And,
which, like you said, is expected considering
right.
that he.
So once he gets back to his good old reckless abandon self, then then people will start feeling a little bit better about it, and I think that there won't be much of a problem.
Yeah, I think if the Knicks are smart, they're not making this
Yeah,
trade. Keep what you got. This team's doing all right.
they don't need to make any moves,
Yeah, I
in my
just think the
opinion.
team needs to get healthy. That's the bottom line.
Yeah,
The team needs to get healthy. But the one thing I'll admit, problems with this team are as follows: they don't rebound, they don't have a big man, they don't score in the paint, and unless Carmelo's scoring 30 points a night, they
who
don't have
else is
anyone
really
else. Yeah,
scoring?
who else is scoring behind them? Maybe J.R. Smith every now and then, but I'm sorry, I'm not a huge fan of J.R. Smith. I don't want him taking 20, 25 shots a game because you know what? The man doesn't hit enough of these shots. It's like a love-hate relationship. It's like I want to hate on the guy so bad, then you see him make these clutch threes and you see him make these game-winning shots, and it's like you can't get on him fully,
And,
but
and he plays tough defense. I
he does.
mean,
I mean, the one thing I'll say about their defense, I don't really buy into the zone defense that they use. I'm not a really huge fan of it. I don't think it works well. Whenever they face a speedy point guard, the guy's just zooming by and putting up points. I mean, which is shown with the Timberwolves and the Clippers
yeah.
last two
Well, I
games.
mean, they're just not playing consistent basketball, and I guess in some ways, this is what we've seen. This is what people predicted, and we saw that they weren't going to be the most consistent team, but
They're still second
they're still second
in
in
the East.
the
I
in the
mean,
East. I think that they're still going to be a tough team to beat in the playoffs. I
well,
think.
I'll tell you right now, I have my doubts about them. I think depending on who they see first round, they should be a team that gets out of the first round, but they need to find a secondary scorer. I mean, if not that, then people like Tyson Chandler need to start putting up more points. I mean, I love it when he's involved in the offense, when he's throwing it down. I mean,
Well,
there's no
here's the
reason why
thing:
he
when you
shouldn't be.
when you have interior scoring, it opens up the offense, and it gives guys like Felton better chances to shoot the ball. It gives guys like J.R. Smith better opportunities to shoot. Even Steve Novak, who's been terrible
He's
this
been
year,
useless. Useless.
but it would give
If he's not
him it
making
would give
threes, the
him
guy should not
chances.
play. End of story.
Well, I mean, he
I'm sorry.
doesn't
His
play
sole.
defense. He doesn't do
Well, that's
anything.
the problem.
I
He's a
don't know.
useless player. If he, I'm sorry. I think I've said this before in another episode. If the guy goes over 3 in his first 3 attempts at 3 pointers, the guy needs to take a seat. It's not your night. Play someone else. Because the guy doesn't play defense, doesn't know how to move the ball at all. The only point of having him is to have a 3-point shooter out there. Which really is that really something the Knicks need anyway? They have enough 3-point shooters
Yeah,
on this damn team.
yeah.
I feel like with this Knicks team, also they don't. I feel like they don't move the ball around enough.
Well, they're not playing the same kind of offense that they were playing earlier in the year, where their ball movement was ridiculous. Now it's okay.
Especially like once
Let's
again,
play some ISO.
yeah, exactly. Well, that's what Carmelo does, and then listen, I cannot stand
See, but
going back to my hate with J.R.
I don't
Smith.
want it to sound like we're hating on Melo because Melo
Melo's been great.
he's been
Listen,
passing the
if
ball, he's been
Melo's,
scoring, he's been rebounding. I have no
I'm
complaints
telling you right
about
now,
Melo.
if Melo is not on this team, they're at least 10 games worse than what they are right now. At the very least,
It's probably
it's probably worse than
that.
that. But I'm just going at the very least. But listen, with J.R. Smith, man, I almost feel like put 5 guys on him. He ain't passing the ball. He gets the ball, he's taking a shot. I mean, like, and it's ridiculous. I don't think that there should be any player that automatically takes a shot like that. I think there needs to be some type, at least make them think you got to move the ball. And if you're
Like
to
we
compete
already
for a title,
said,
if you're to compete for a title too, you can't lose to teams like the Wizards
yeah, you're right.
and these below five, and have a Milwaukee Bucks give you a run for your money. I mean, I understand you can't have your A game every night, but I mean, you just got to beat up on these bad teams.
Well, I mean, to make a quick baseball reference, I mean, what they always say the Yankees were best at? Beating up on the bad teams.
And playing 500 against the good teams. That's what you got to do.
I don't know. I think it's going to be a very interesting second half.
Well,
Um,
listen, I still think they're gonna be at least 2, 3 seed.
yeah, I
I
mean, I
mean,
think
there's no reason,
honestly,
especially.
it's going to be tough. It's going to be interesting when Derrick Rose comes back for the Bulls. I think he's going to bring them to another level. So I expect them to be fighting for the number two seed. Um,
Well, even like, look, you look at the Knicks' upcoming schedule. Besides the All Star break, you got the Raptors,
that should be a
Pacers,
win.
Raptors, Sixers, Golden State Warriors for the rest of the month. The Raptors and Sixers, those 3 games should be definite wins. The Pacers, I could see possibly winning that game because it's on the road. Golden State Warriors,
They'll probably lose the Warriors. Warriors are a good team.
but I mean that should be another team that they should be able to beat. I
Yeah.
mean, these are teams like, and then started next month. You got the Wizards, Heat, Cavs, Pistons, Thunder. The Heat and Thunder, I could see them losing too, just because of how inconsistent they are. And unless listen,
Well, I don't want to. It's funny because I don't want to. I know that the Knicks pretty much dominated the Heat the last two games, but I don't really want to.
but I feel like the Heat are playing differently now.
Yeah,
Especially
exactly.
this
And the
run, that,
Knicks are playing differently
especially
also.
this run that LeBron James is on right now. It's just he's playing unconscious. I mean, it's unbelievable how well he's playing.
But that's what I'm saying. Like I don't really want to mention those two games because I feel like both teams are completely different than what they were.
Yeah,
The Knicks are not playing the same kind of basketball that they were playing earlier on in the year, as the Heat are not playing the same kind of basketball that they were earlier in the year. The Heat obviously are the favorites to win the championship again.
as well as they should.
Obviously, yeah, as they should.
Best player in the league, in
Yeah, without a
LeBron.
doubt. But I still don't want to count the Knicks out because as much as they can go and lay an egg against the 76ers, as much as they can go and lay an egg against the Wizards, they could very well turn around and win by 10 against the Heat.
Well, I feel like the reason why is because the Heat kind of fit the style of play that the Knicks want. I mean, they don't have really like a fast break offense. I want to say like it's not like what you watch the way the Bulls and like the Sixers play them. And they're like making them run. The Knicks are an old team. They're not going to move very well. They don't. I feel like their transition defense
Well,
isn't all that great.
honestly, I think what plays into the Knicks' favor is that the Heat don't have a dominant big man. There's no real big presence in the middle. And I think that the Knicks would be able to drive the ball. I see a lot of pick and roll in
Yeah.
that game from Amari. And
Which by the
it's
way,
obviously going to be a great shootout between LeBron and Melo again. But, you know.
this whole talk that Amari and Melo can't play together, I think is garbage. I mean, they played together, I think, relatively well. I
Oh,
mean, the
yeah.
last few games, you could say that it's been the Knicks' defense that hasn't exactly been playing well. I mean, I don't know. I like it. Melo goes up to fake a shot and passes it off to Amari, and Amari slams it in. I mean,
Listen, I have no real complaints about Amari or Melo. The two of them, I think Amari has been playing pretty much as expected after coming back
and
from
listen, you got to
surgery.
commend the
And
guy too. I mean, he's changed his game all around.
oh
He's
yeah,
coming off the bench and hasn't won the bat at once.
right.
I mean, the guy's a team player. I mean, you want people like that on your team.
I like how he's playing more as a post threat.
Yeah.
I think he's really been excelling in that role.
Well, he instead of going back for the little jumper, he's actually driving it in now.
Well, to make a long story short, both teams are inconsistent. Like we have been saying for a while now. I think I think the Nets are in a bigger hole than the Knicks are.
Well, the Knicks, all they need to do is just get healthy. I think that's their main problem right now. They just need to get their pieces healthy.
Yeah, and
Healthy and tighten up that defense a little bit, and I think they'll be all right.
I'm looking forward to the second half. I think it's going to bring a lot of excitement. I think,
Well, I think the second half will tell a lot about the Knicks.
yeah,
It'll tell a lot. I mean, one of the main concerns I said starting the season was health. I mean,
yeah, because of
it's a long season,
AARP.
old team. Yeah, Team AARP right there. It's a long season, and they're an old team.
I'll tell you one thing, they really missed Rasheed Wallace.
Yeah.
That was a big loss for them. But, I mean, he may come back. They're talking maybe after the All-Star break, which I think would be a good boost for them.
Listen, when it's all said and done, I think the Knicks are still going to be one of the top teams in the NBA, especially because of Mike Woodson. He's got the team playing together. The quickest Knick head coach to win 50 games. I don't see them having enough injuries to really deplete the team that badly where they can't, you know, run off a winning streak against some of the bad teams. So when it's all said and done, I still think the Knicks are going to be at least a three seed in the NBA.
Yeah, I could agree with that. I do think they're going to be tough to beat in a 7-game series.
Oh, of
Um,
course. I don't like once again. I don't think I really truly believe that it depends with their matchup because they turn around and somehow see the Bulls first round. They ain't beating the Bulls. I think first round.
yeah, no, I agree with
I mean,
that.
look, they were barely keeping up with the Bulls here in the regular season. They were
Yeah.
down 20 points in the fourth quarter. I mean, and that bothers you a little bit. Not a little bit.
Yeah,
That worries you a lot, a whole lot. I
yeah,
mean,
no, you're
and
right.
God forbid when they get Derrick Rose back, how bad that might be.
You're right. If it just depends how it all breaks for them. Um,
But listen, as Knicks fans, how can we complain?
I know you can't
This is the
complain.
best team
This
we've seen
is
since the '90s.
yeah, or well, yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
listen,
It is. Yeah.
this is better than the days with Marbury and
Oh God,
Lee and losing by 40 points to the Celtics. You know,
Marbury, what a waste that was.
waste
But
of life.
let's
Should have been
not get on
swallowed.
that. Let's not get on that rant. That would be like a 35-minute
Yeah,
video
let's.
going on that. But anyway, that's gonna do it for us. Make sure to follow us on Twitter at the Final Serve, like us on Facebook, and please subscribe.
You've just been served.